So, this is insane, the biggest story in politics today, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked. And then it got leaked. They referred to black people as this and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about doing this to their enemies and driving them to do that. I can't say some of these things because of social media, but I am dedicated to not letting these people get away with it. So I'm going to show you their texts and then we're going to put a face to some of them. Right here, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, said PG. And that person is this guy, Peter Gunta. He was referencing a vote for him to take over this massive Republican organization, and he lost, by the way, and said anybody that votes no is going to be punished. And then BW says, when do we start bullying, dude? That guy is Bobby Walker, who has other really disgusting texts. And he says, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Then AK says, when do we bring that side out? That right there is Ann K. Katie. This person. And it actually gets worse. JM says, can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the blank aesthetic. That guy is Joe Maligno. And there he is right there. Vice President, Staten Island Young Republican Club. And notice all the reactions to the text messages as well. They line up with names, of course. And then Ann K. Katie also said, I'm ready to watch people, you know. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used these words and variations of racial slurs more than a dozen times in the chat. This is William Hendricks. You know, I'm really starting to see a theme with all these people. They all just look kind of similar, don't they? And the final one is this guy named Alex Dwyer saying, he did say my delegates I bring will vote for the most right-wing person. And then that Peter Gunta loser said, great, I love blank. And notice how Alex Dwyer put a smiley face on that text. He loved it. This is Alex Dwyer, by the way. I highly recommend you go read that Politico article because there's far more than I can fit into this one video, but it is truly appalling. This is the kind of rhetoric, the kind of behavior that Donald Trump has inspired. All of those people have sworn allegiance to Donald Trump. It's not by accident.
Hey guys, we have some serious news. Politico just published a major investigation into leaked Telegram chat used by young Republican leaders around the country. Now, this is going to be tough to listen to, guys, so just warning you. But thousands of private messages show members using racial slurs, making jokes about historical atrocities like the Holocaust, ways to turn a shower into a gas chamber, and sharing extreme comments about their political opponents. The chat included leaders from New York, Kansas, Arizona, many of them already working inside state government or Republican organizations. In the messages, Peter Gunta of New York talked about gas chambers. Bobby Walker, his vice chair, called something epic in a conversation about assault. And William Hendricks of Kansas used racial slurs dozens of times. One member even works in the Trump administration. Michael Bartels, a senior advisor at the Small Business Administration. He didn't push back against the language and later signed an affidavit describing pressure over the leak. Since Politico began asking questions, one person has already lost their job and another's offer was pulled. And some Republican leaders, some have publicly condemned the chat, but only some. The leak shows how some rising figures inside the party talk when they think no one's watching, a culture of cruelty and extremism that many fear could shape the next generation of Republican politics.
Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the U.S. had a Telegram group chat that just got leaked. There was a lot of conversation in that group chat about how much they love Hitler, and also there was several racial slurs being used. There was discussions of graping people that don't agree with them and also unaliving them. They referred to black people as watermelon people and monkeys. They used the N-word in different variations dozens of times. They talked about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about how Jews are running the world and cannot be trusted. They talked about graping their enemies, lauding them to unaliving themselves, and also discussed which Republican leaders they think would still be in support of slavery. They referred to grape as quote-unquote epic. They discussed coming up with physiological torture methods that are greater than anyone has ever seen and putting them to the test. The chat also talked about this group potentially getting a Trump endorsement and being in talks about it as well. There's currently about 2,900 pages of this chat and it's an ongoing story, so I'll keep you up to date as best as I can. But I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you surprised that there is this kind of discussion or rhetoric in a young Republican group chat? Or do you think that it really matches their brand? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're looking for pocket-sized politics, you're in the right spot.
Out of all of these egregious that have been exposed from the young Republicans, I feel like this one right here. When do we start? You know what, dude? I feel like this one right here is one we really need to pay attention to. Especially because people like this, and this were in that group chat. We are living in a real life revenge of the nerds, y'all. You would think that people who probably were bullied themselves growing up would want to do the exact opposite. Instead, they want to take the bully's place. These folks are using the political process to terrorize us, not because they were upset that they were bullied growing up. No, because they wanted to be the bullies. And it's the same thing with these technocrats, these Elon Musks and these Peter Thiels who are sitting here trying to buy the government so that they can stick it to the rest of us because they're mad that they couldn't be the bullies. Not that they were bullied, but that they couldn't be the bullies. And now that they're in a position to be the bullies, they're gonna make all of us suffer. This also applies to Popo. This also applies to ICE. A lot of these ICE dudes, you take that mask off, you gonna see somebody who look like this, We are being collectively punished because some dudes were bullied as children and now have the power to make us all pay.
Did you guys hear about the Young Republicans group chat being hacked and exposed? Oh, you haven't? Let me tell you about it. I want you to picture this. 2,900 pages of hate. 28,000 chains of messages in this thread. The thread was so vile, racist, and disgusting that I can't even talk about it on TikTok's platform without getting flagged. Then the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, has come to support the young Republicans, saying it was just locker room talk. I want to say this again. What was in this thread, I cannot repeat. It was that vile, that disgusting, and that violent, and extremely racist. And the Vice President of the United States has come to their defense. I want everybody to remember something. When a Republican points their finger at somebody, an ideology, or someone, you just remember there is 10 more fingers pointing back at them. Please look up this thread that I can't talk about here and see it for yourselves. It exists. They exist. Do as you please with this information. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, and if you haven't followed me yet, please do. Have a day.
Isn't it a little bit ironic that J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, is saying that these 20 to 40-year-old men in this young Republicans group chat saying this Nazi and racist and pro-rape shit are just a bunch of, like, immature kids, but yet if it were black people, it would be completely different. I mean, I've been looked at as a grown man since I was about 15 years old, and they're trying to change it in D.C. to where 14-year-olds can be charged as adults, but these 30 to 40-year-old men are just immature kids. What the fuck? They're not even trying to hide the fact that they protect their own, and you can be a rapist or a Nazi sympathizer and they're gonna try to protect you because, I mean, that's what they are. Rapists and probably Nazis. If not Nazis, at least fascists. And also, don't even get me started on the fact that the group itself literally came out and condemned what was said, except the Texas chapter and except JD Vance. They're just making excuses for it. The Texas group actually stands behind what they said.
There's been a leaked Telegram group chat of leaders of young Republicans across several chapters in America in which these people are being anti-Semitic, racist, sexist, calling black people monkeys, and saying that they want to actually incite violence against actual members of the government who are practicing politics. I'm a firm believer that people who aren't racist age better and just are better in general, because racists always look like melted mayonnaise and look like they smell like spoiled milk. These are the people who are on this chat talking about black people and brown people. And it's like, bro, if you wake up every single day of your life and you spend that much energy being racist, your energy is being sucked from your soul. And that's why you guys age like prunes by the age of 30. What you need to be focusing on is a better diet outside of eating at the Wawa. There was over 2,900 pages of the chat, which just gives you an inside look into the far right movement of pro-Trump young conservatism in America and how scary it actually is that these people are pushing these ideologies forward and it's penetrating at this young level.
Everyone that votes no is going into a chamber. Great. I love Zitler. You're giving nationals as much credit and expecting the Jews to be honest. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkey play ball. I'm ready to watch people. Now, are you going to do whatever it takes? Boom, they're dead. It was grape. This girl is fully our word. Kick the B. And everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to go in the chamber. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked. For real, for real. I'm a conservative black person. Independent, no political party affiliation. And what I just read to you was a group of texts that were leaked onto Political from a group of Turning Point young Republicans. Talking about the black people, the Jewish people, pretty much anybody they could have talked about as if they were the Aryan Brotherhood themselves. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is because those people have parents. And whoever their parents are taught them exactly those phrases and that hate. So stay vigilant and look alive. Look alive, please. Because one thing for sure and two things for certain. Well, that's the rhetoric of the Republican Party that is in charge right now. And no, that's not all conservatives' party. Just FYI, just in case you were confused, I am the black person that defends the Jewish people in this country. I am the black woman that lets them know what the 3Ks and the Aryan Brotherhood did to the Catholics, the Jewish, the black people, and the Irish during the 1930s. And one thing for sure and two things for certain, you will not be causing a divide in between us. The minorities are going to come together on this, and you have forced our hand. And that is okay, because while you hide in private, we show our faces in public. We don't need a group chat. We'll just talk to you. Boy, do I love being conservative. I tell you something about the nuclear family of home values of the South you just can't let go. Don't you ever forget. Not only did we win that war, we still doing better than your ancestors in this country. Sliha. To the black community, I want you to know something very clear. Their parents are police officers. In Wilmington, North Carolina, a couple of years ago, our police officers were caught on radio, currently saying that they were going to unalive all the that they wanted to unalive us, burn us, and put us to the stake. Those police officers had their recordings currently released while they were off duty, and they got in trouble and put on leave. So, one thing for sure and two things for certain, Donald Trump definitely resurrected the time period of the Civil War. It's about time for you to get ready and start waiting on something to happen. Let's get it. Join Patreon to make sure you're updated on all your news and everything else in between, and to prep, no matter what tier. Bye.
There's a damning new Politico report out about a Telegram group chat for leaders of young Republicans. And this highlighted again for me, smacked me over the head with this concept of the paradox of tolerance, because I tend to be a very tolerant person. I tend to try to find common ground with my fellow Americans. I like to seek out unity. It feels like the right thing and loving thing to do for my fellow Americans. But it also means that if you become too tolerant of intolerance, you will allow intolerance to grow. And this is the manifestation of that. Every single hateful, bigoted, racist, misogynist, homophobic, white supremacist trope you can imagine is in this group chat in spades. I will drop a link to the article in my description here below so you can read them for yourself. I'm not going to be saying any of them here on this video, but suffice to say, these men even joke about the fact that if this group chat ever sees the light of day, they are screwed. Well, guess what, boys? Your day has come. And this is why it is very important for us to continue to forcefully reject any of this type of behavior. One of these guys already lost his job. Another one saw job offers rescinded. And I hope there is more fallout to come, because this type of thing is what is destroying America.
Well, would you look at that? The same exact crowd that was having people fired from their jobs last month because they were quoting Charlie Kirk, turn out that they're not good people either. Yes, the Young Republicans Telegram chat has been leaked, and to no one's surprise, it's awful. So there are multiple references about how they cannot wait for people who vote against them to, and about the multiple ways that they would like to them. And they are very reminiscent of, what's that? 1940s Germany, because they openly say that they love the German mustache man. A lot of these people are already involved in the government sector and in politics. These are the people that you are voting for when you continue to vote Republican. You can see in these text messages that they're not good people. Most people would be fired from their jobs for having text messages like this. Absolutely insane. And these are the people that you vote for.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine.
Let's get one thing straight, you guys. Accountability needs to be taken on both sides. It needs to go both ways. Democrats, Republicans, anyone that ends up saying some shit that fucking shouldn't be said should be held accountable for their actions. Another thing we got to get straight, you guys. These are not children that he is talking about. He's talking about individuals that ended up getting busted. Their age is between 20 and 30. Those are adults, plain and simple. I don't give a fuck what you say. They're not kids. They need to be held accountable. And here's another thing that I think is fucking hilarious. He said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. And he said all this on the Charlie Kirk podcast. Last time he was on that podcast, he ended up talking about and doxing people about their actions and their jokes and their memes about Charlie Kirk's death. These young adults in this group chat, over 2,900 pages, thousands, tens of thousands of text messages that were leaked, showcased them talking about and bragging about how much they loved Hitler, how much they idolized rape. Yeah, you heard me right. They said that right there is edgy and cool. Edgy and cool to rape some female. Wow. Absolutely crazy. They also idolize the fact that, they said that the gas chamber needs to be utilized a lot more right now. Yeah, it needs to be utilized a lot more right now, especially on brown and black people. But they're kids. They're children. Let me know your thoughts in your comments over this way because, accountability. Yeah, give me a fucking break.
You remember a couple weeks ago when everyone was Googling what the word groiper meant and what that embodied? Yeah, it's time to put that information to use with this Politico article that involves 2,900 pages or 28,000 messages from the Young Republicans National Federation. Everything's a joke, everything's ironic, everything is about trying to get a laugh out of someone, and they're all doing it to each other. I can't repeat 90% of what is said in this chat. Obviously, it's racist, it's bigoted, and it's all these problems. They even joke about gassing people. This is Peter Giunta. He's one of the main contributors to this group chat. He also served, past tense, as the chief of staff to New York State Assemblymember Mike Riley. He also had an endorsement from Elise Stefanik and Roger Stone and almost Donald Trump / the White House when he was pushing for chairman of the National Federation for Young Republicans, though he lost. As a result of this article, two specific things are going on. First is the people involved in the messages are outwardly admitting that they said these things while also apologizing more so for how you felt and the fact that it got leaked rather than it being wrong. And then they add at the end of their public statements that because they can't confirm all 28,000 messages at this time, that there's a chance it could be doctored, it could be manipulated. And Peter Giunta comes in and says, well, this was actually a political hit from another young Republican organization. But I also still said these things. And the second is the sort of people and organizations that were orbiting the Federation are coming out of the woodwork to distance themselves and deny that they knew about these messages. If they employed any of the members from the group chat, they're firing them, and they're coming out and making statements saying, well, the person I spoke to is a complete opposite. I would have never guessed that they would say such heinous things. Please go read this article. Go read what is said in these chats, because I need you to recognize that this is what's being said behind closed doors. This is what they're saying when they think they are in a safe environment. And I promise you, this is not the only one. This is just the one that got caught.
For me, when I think about this group text chain and the thing that happened with the Young Republicans and now they saying other text chains got leaked with other Republicans saying racist things and, anti-Semitic and bigoted things and the whole situation. The thing that gets me about that is that Caucasian people, some of them, really be sitting around having these kind of conversations about black people in their group chat. They really do. And this is crazy. It's obsession. It's so weird. And black people we don't talk like that. I promise you, we don't talk like that. You're not going to find a black group chat. I don't know what the other people of color be doing, the other POCs. I don't know what they be doing, but you are not going to find a black group chat where Caucasian people are centered in the group chat. We don't care. We don't. Live your life, do you, and let us live our life and do us. We don't care. We would never. We don't care. The black group chat be exchanging memes all day and laughing mad hard at memes. Or line dancing videos.
Thousands of leaked messages showing leaders of the Young Republican groups joking about gas chambers, slurring, and private Telegram groups. Apparently, Mike Johnson's best friend Bobby Walker said, "R word is epic," wearing the MAGA hat. So he said that inside of one of these Young Republican group chats, which, is this really surprising? No, it's not. This got 36 million views, bro. That is, I don't think I've ever seen that many views in a long time. Apparently, it was all just R word chats obtained by blah, 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 and spanning more than 7 months of this. So, people can replay. Obviously, liberals are going to blame this on the Republicans, right? Which they should, but it's just a little group chat. Obviously, there's bad people in every group. The same thing, the right's going to attack the left, and the left's going to find something from a small sector of the Republicans and then attack them. Guys, it is us against the people on the top. If you're still in 2025 being like, I hate Republicans or I hate liberals, you're literally a drone, like zero brain cell drone. What do y'all think? Let me know.
Just here talking about something that's come up recently. Before I dive into the emotional intelligence piece of it, let me give you some facts. Young Republican leaders in Kansas, New York, and a few other places recently had months of behind the scenes messages collected. 2,900 pages of messages. A few of the messages you could see behind me. I will move out of the way in a few moments. Let's just say no one was off limits. They talked about Black people, referring to them as watermelon people and monkeys, and used the hardier countless times. Racial slurs against Asian people and Hispanic people, epithets against LGBTQ+, and talking about grape for women. And forget about the anti-Semitic part about it, because we were also talking about Hitler countless times and gas chambers. All of this is very concerning to many people, and it should be, even though our vice president said that they were only kids, which actually factually is not true. It was 24 to 35-year-olds, which is not a kid, and they should be treated as adults. I'm not here to debate on whether it was offensive, racist, or misogynistic. And I understand that it is easy to get angry and dismissive. Emotional intelligence is quite literally not just about our reactions, it's about our underlying emotions behind others' actions, which is this. We can call them out, or we could call them in. So a few questions that I have are, what are the insecurities that might be driving such harmful rhetoric? How can we encourage spaces where people seek an understanding and are encouraged to listen with more empathy and reflect on the impact of their words? The goal isn't to excuse any of this harmful behavior. It's actually to transform the conversations. And we are being emotionally intelligent and advocating for accountability and growth and fostering those spaces where people feel seen and heard. There is less room for harmful beliefs and behaviors. And I'll leave you with looking at all of what was said.
Famous last words inside a Young Republicans group chat was, if we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real, for real. Unfortunately for these individuals behind me, their chat was leaked to Politico. So yeah, a Young Republicans group was leaked. It was on Telegram. Thousands of these messages where somebody within the group must have leaked it. That Politico does not say who did it, but they were joking about gas chambers, slavery, RAPE, in private Telegram chat. There were some pretty nasty things in this group chat. As the headline says, I love H-Man. Obviously can't say that word on here, but you know who H-Man is. And here are some behind me if you want to stop it and look at it. One of the main guys that really got during this group chat being leaked, William Hendricks. That's him right here. He is from Missouri. He's drawn to the Missouri's Young Republican org because they don't like FAGS. He made a remark in July. Bros at a chicken restaurant ordering his food. Would he like some watermelon and Kool-Aid with that? I'm generally not a fan of leaking group chats. That's no good. It usually takes things out of context, but these quotes, these messages were no good. Hendricks was a communications assistant for Kansas Republican Attorney General Chris Kobach until Thursday. He was let go. Remember the I love H-Man quote? That was done by this guy behind me, Peter Gienta. He also lost his job. He was the chief of staff for New York Assembly member Mike Riley in Staten Island. Bobby Walker was going to be the head of a campaign staff in New York. Does not look like he has that job anymore. J.D. Vance took to Twitter and said, this is far worse than anything said in the college group chat. And the guy who said it could become the Attorney General of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence. And this were texts with Jay Jones, who's running for the Attorney General of Virginia, calling for political violence. Now, I do want to point out, J.D. Vance called that a college group chat. A lot of those guys that I just showed you, they're very much out of college. I think one is in his 30s. Young Republicans usually means people under 40. Some have said, let's see chat logs from the young Democrats after Charlie's killing. Until we see those logs, I couldn't give less shits about these. Harry Sis in front of the program said they like Nazis and hate black people. Why are you so effing weak that you can't condemn both? I tend to agree here with Harry. However, Jay Jones is still in the race. And if there was a true condemning of him, they would say no more Jay Jones. That being said, this story isn't about Jay Jones. Now for who leaked this. Remember Peter Gienta, the guy I was telling you about from Staten Island? He said that the release of this chat is part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax in the New York City Young Republican Club. This is Gavin Wax. He is currently the Chief of Staff to the Undersecretary of State for Public Diplomacy and Public Affairs. That's in the U.S. Department of State. Sounds like a made-up job. But yeah, he's under fire tonight. You search his name on Twitter, people are not happy with him. Never a quiet day in politics.
All of the feigned outrage over all those leaked group chats is absolutely hilarious and ridiculous. All of those chats are completely normal things that are said every single day between anybody in any group chat anywhere, between anybody that's under the age of like 40. All of those things are completely tame. And all of the people who were acting the most upset and the most offended by it, those are the ones you have to watch out for, because those are the ones that are actually racist. Are you really going to pretend like you've never said the N-word, or you've never joked about the other N-word, and you've never made completely innocent jokes between your friends, regardless of whose race or ethnicity was what? It's completely ridiculous. And everyone on the left who's pretending to lose all their minds over this, like, those people just need to go do some homework, because the reality is the vast majority of the youth in this country is in fact swinging hard right. And to understand why, all you have to do is go research the anti-communist movement in Weimar, Germany, and why the anti-communist movement came to power anyway. And I'm saying anti-communist movement on purpose. And I think Matt Walsh made an excellent point on his X when he was speaking about this, when he said, this is why the left is constantly winning, because the left will defend each other when they shoot people, when they ask for violence, and the right will fall apart and start clutching their pearls as soon as some naughty words are said in a group chat. This is absolutely ridiculous. And firing those people is not going to do anything, because if anything, anybody who got in trouble for those chats is only going to gain more influence and more power. So hold the L.
So Politico released 2,900 pages of a leaked group chat from the Telegram app, where 8 young Republican leaders are saying the most vile, racist, offensive, and dangerous things that a person can say. And apparently, our leaders in Congress and in Washington are perfectly okay with it, because nobody has said anything about it except for J.D. Vance, who says that young men say rude, nasty things, and their whole lives shouldn't be ruined for the things that they are saying. We're talking about comments that include comments about gas chambers, some of the most offensive terms that you could use to refer to African Americans, and even the suggestion that a current Democratic candidate be unalived. Remember these 8 names. Write them down, Google them, and put them on your social media, because these people need to be shamed and shamed and shamed. The names are Peter Giunta, Alex Dwyer, Joe Maligno, William Hendricks, Samuel Douglas, Bobby Walker, Luke Mosselman, and Ann K. Cady. Those are the 8. They represent what the Republican Party has become. They represent the future of leadership in the Republican Party. We can't let them get away with it. Call these people out. Announce it from the rooftops. They're racists and fascists. They need to go.
You stupid libs need to stop calling everybody you disagree with a Nazi and a fascist. Just because dozens of young Republican leadership send thousands of messages talking about how much we love Hitler and how we want to put our political opponents in gas chambers and fix the showers for the Hitler aesthetic, and use so many racist, homophobic, and sexist slurs that make a 14-year-old in a Call of Duty lobby uncomfortable, and joke about raping and torturing people we don't like and how awesome it is that Donald Trump, who we support, definitely also not a Nazi, is burning the Epstein files, which we totally know that he's in. None of that stuff makes us racist, Nazis, or fascists, okay? Just stop pretending, guys. You're Nazis. Because you seriously cannot be a Republican anymore and pretend otherwise. All of you are fucking Nazis. If you still identify as a Republican, you are a fucking Nazi, and this proves it. Because if these are the people that are in your party and you guys don't personally take them out yourselves and remove them, then you are just as bad as they are. And I was struggling so much with how I was going to talk about this. Like, come on. These motherfuckers are the ones running their mouths. These tubby little incels who piss on the bottom of their tum-tum every time they got to take a leak because their micro penis doesn't stick out past their front butt flaps. These are the fedora-wearing, maul sword-wielding motherfuckers who think that they are superior to anybody else. These irrefutable examples of why Planned Parenthood clearly does not provide enough abortions think that at any point in their sad, pathetic little lives they've ever been in a position to talk shit about anyone or anything other than which flavor of Hot Pocket their mom made them and brought down to the basement tastes the worst. These sentient sacks of McDonald's Happy Meals who, if you ever played a video game where you had to beat your way through a horde of incels with a rubber hose, would be the ultimate final boss. These motherfuckers said sex is gay. Not sex with a man, just sex. I could do a 7-episode long Netflix miniseries mocking these motherfuckers and never repeat a joke once because they are that pathetic and laughable. I mean, there's just so much material to work with. Normally, I would say that the last woman these incels have been inside of was their mother, but clearly no woman would ever touch anything that's ever been genetically related to them. So their fathers must have jacked off into a petri dish and they are what those moldy cum stains grew into. But as big of a joke as all of those worthless excuses for human excrement are, none of this is funny. This isn't kids joking around. This wasn't an offhanded comment by a middle schooler who didn't understand what he was saying and thought he was being edgy. This is the reality of what the controlling political party in this country believes, what they want, and what they do if they can get away with it. You know who jokes about rape and says that it's epic? Rapists. You know who jokes about turning showers into gas chambers for the Hitler aesthetic? Genocidal fucking sociopaths. And do you know what kind of people talk about those things? People whose parents talk about those things. People whose mentors and social groups talk about those things. These cum stains their mom sat on too long do not exist in a bubble. These kids were taught this, and they were taught that not only is it okay, it's encouraged. And not only is it encouraged, but if you say these things and you believe these things and you normalize these things, you will be groomed for positions of power. Once you get to those positions of power, you will have the ability to inflict your sick, perverse, disgusting, and violent ideologies, fetishes, and fantasies on other people. These are the kids who groomers like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes have created. These are the kids who are shaped by a world where Brock Turners get a slap on the wrist, where angry mobs of treasonous terrorists overrun the Capitol trying to overthrow democracy, and the wildly, criminally corrupt rapist and pedophile that we allowed to be president not once but twice pardons them, where the world's richest man does a Nazi salute at a presidential inauguration. And these examples of why Plan B has to say it's only 95% effective are just a snapshot, just a tiny little window into the cancer that is right-wing extremism that has infected our entire country. And all of that is horrifying. It is disgusting. And it is incredibly dangerous. But none of it is funny. And these people need to be held accountable in the strongest possible ways, and not just these sentient bottles of Rufalin that were texting away in their little group chat we all saw, but all of their parents and all of the organizations that groomed them, like Turning Point USA and PragerU and the Daily Wire and Moms for Liberty and Daughters of the Confederacy, and all of their mentors and all of the organizations that have accepted them, like the Young Republicans, and the party that allows these human-shaped blobs of cultured pond scum to exist within it, and all of the public figures who use their platform to espouse and glorify this type of rhetoric and behavior. Whether that's racist commentary about minorities eating cats and dogs, or the pedophiles who are suggesting that it's trans and gay people who are actually pedophiles, or congressional candidates pretending to shoot effigies of immigrants, or the President of the United States bragging about assaulting women, or any of the other countless examples, these people need to be held accountable because they are all responsible. And every day that they are not, it only gets worse. So I'm looking at you, every single elected elected official, every governor, every attorney general, every congressperson, every senator. I'm looking at you, every single fucking cop who pretends you're one of the good apples in the spoiled barrel. I'm looking at every federal agent who isn't too fucking busy writing things on the side of shell casings with a Sharpie to start arresting